Welcome to this week's virtual Drasha. This week we have the incredible privilege to read Parshas Teitzei. And the Torah begins, Teitzei lemelchama aleivecha, when you go out to war against your enemies, unisana Hashem elokecha biyadecha, and Hashem will deliver your enemies into your hands, vishavisa shivyo, and you will take captives. And although, of course, on the external level, on the chitzonius level of it, the Torah is speaking about warfare. Torah speaking about going out to war, and Baruch Hashem, the beauty in this pasuk is the Torah telling us that if you go out to war and you go out to war for the right reasons, and you go out to war waving the banner of the Ribono Shalom, unisano Hashem elokecha biyadecha, Hashem will deliver your enemies into your hands. You will be successful. But in Hasidic literature, it's understood that whenever the Torah speaks about going out to war, it's never just referring to going to war against an external enemy. But anytime the Torah teaches us the halachos of warfare, there's an internal message, there's a pneumistic message about the battles, the internal battles that we wage day in and day out. The battle with the Yetzer Hara, the battle with our inner desires and wants and proclivities and lusts, the very things which seek to derail us throughout life. Every time the Torah gives me a halacha of warfare, it's not just talking about the soldier who goes out to the battleground, be it in Eretz Yisrael or be it in some foreign country. Torah is teaching me about ground zero warfare, which occurs inside of my heart, inside of my soul, and gives me the strategies to be successful in that incredible battle as well. And along those lines, the great tzaddik Rav Shlomo of Radomsk, sees in this pasuk something amazing. The Rebbe writes, I want to quote you, he says, Yesh anshe maisa, there are some people who do battle with their Yetzer. They do battle with their inner wants and proclivities and desires and lusts, and they're successful. They're successful, right? We've all had incredible moments of success when I'm battling against something and I stand up to my Yetzer Hara. I don't give in. I don't do. But then something amazing happens. One day I vanquish my Yetzer Hara. One day I go ahead and I suppress those things that I want to do. Or I not even suppress, I overcome them. I don't do it. And then the next day, sometimes it's not even the next day, sometimes it's the next hour, that same Yetzer Hara is back with a vengeance. And not only that, sometimes that very Yetzer Hara that I defeated the first time, that very want, desire, proclivity, inclination, lust, that very thing that I conquered just a little while ago, not only is back, but this time I failed. This time I failed. This time I gave in. This time I was overpowered. This time I didn't have the willpower to stand up and say no. And the Rebbe says, in those moments we think to ourselves, Vehema, Tmeim Vetoim, what's going to be? I think to myself, what is going to be? So the Rebbe Radomsk says, and Chavra, I think we've all had these moments where I wonder to myself, am I ever going to overcome this? I've been struggling with this thing, and then one time, you have that moment where that thing, we'll call it that thing because all of us have things that we struggle with. Very often in life, there's a thing. There's one thing that is it's my most acute struggle, and maybe I've been struggling with for a long time. And so there's that moment where I'm successful. I'm like, yeah, I got this, and then I fail in that same area, and I think to myself, is this my life? Is this it? Is this going to be my ongoing struggle? I had this moment not so long ago, in Shema Kolenu. Shema Kolenu, Shemona Esrei, there's an additional supplementary paragraph of Ana Hashem, Chatasi, Avisi, Pashati. There's a vidui that's in there. Please Hashem, I've sinned, right? And you kava asisi kach v'kach, and then you insert your averas here, right? Because Chatasi, Avisi, Pashati, those just pro forma words that speak of different categories of sin. But then in that vidui, you insert your own sin. So I say that, and it dawned on me just last week that I've been saying so many of the same averas for so many years. It's the same averas. It's not new. It's not. I guess maybe it's a good thing. I haven't picked up any new averas, right? There's not anything new that I'm dabbling in. but it's the same struggles. I've been saying that vidui for the same averas for years. And it was a very humbling moment, a very overwhelming moment, and to be honest, like a little bit of a depressing and defeatist moment, where, like the Rebbe of Radam says, like Rav Shalom Radam says, like I've had moments where I've been successful, and moments where I've overcome those things, and moments where I was like, I got this, and then it's like, to borrow the term, like the relapse. Then like I'm doing it again, I'm living that way again, engaged in those behaviors again. Which leads me to wonder, which leads all of us to wonder. So the Rebbe says, like, is this my life? Is this it? Is this it? Am I constantly going to be like in the up and down, the peaks and valleys of the same struggles in life over and over? And what a failure I feel like. Why haven't I been able to get it together? Why haven't I been able to go ahead and overcome it? Why haven't I been able to go ahead and finally stop saying those same averis year after year? And the Rebbe says something amazing. The Rebbe says the answer to this quandary, which I think plagues all of us in different ways and to different degrees. So the Rebbe says the answer to this kasha, the answer to this question is in the opening pasuk of this week's parasha. He says, Ki Teitzei le'milchama. And like the Rebbe says, you have to put a semicolon. And the Rebbe says, the way to read the pasuk is like this. Ki Teitzei, when you come into this world, why do you come into this world? Why are we here? Why are we here? What did HaKadosh Baruch Hu put us to do? And the Rebbe says, L'milchama. I'm here for one reason and one reason only. And that is to wage the battle. The Rebbe writes, Lehevi yadua lecha, no. Shekol ikar yitzi ascha la'olam hazeh. The entire purpose of being in this world, no ada ach v'rak leman tilachim biyitzrecha tamid. The entire purpose of creation, the entire purpose of my life is l'milchama, is to wage the battle. It's not even to win. It's not to win. Because you know what happens when you win? You win one day, and we all know how this works. You're going to lose the next. That is the derech of life. And if it's not the next day, you lose some other. And if it's not the same battle, it's a different battle. Life is filled with wins and losses. No one always wins. So if I never always win, what's the avoda of my life? Ki Teitzei, the entire purpose I'm in this world, is milchama, is just to engage in the struggle. He says, V'rak leman tilachim biyitzrecha tamid. Just don't stop fighting against your Yetzer. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give in. The goal is just simply to fight. These are the most validating words in the world. And it's not just about being successful. That's not what it's about. Right? It's not about being successful in the battle. He says, the ikr is to wage the war. Imo b'shalom. The Rebbe of Radam tells us such an incredible idea. The goal in life is not success. It's not the goal. It's not the goal. If it happens like that, it's not the goal. The goal is to wage the battle. Success in life is the willingness to continue to wage the battle with the Yetzer, no matter how many times you lose. Failure in life is when you stop fighting. That's failure. Ki Teitzei. Do you want to know the entire purpose for which I came into this world? Why did I leave? Why did my neshama leave Shamayim and come down to this world? Why? Why? Says the Rebbe Radam, semicolon, Ki Teitzei, semicolon, the milchama, to fight. You see, dear friends, we think that because we're constantly engaged in struggle, and for many of us, for me, and I'm sure many of us are in the same boat, it's the same struggles. I see that as a failure. I'm still fighting the same struggles. I'm still dealing with the same averas, still the same stuff after so many years. I feel like such a failure that I can't get myself together. And the Rebbe of Radams comes and gives us a hug and he says, you're not a failure. You're a person. Not only are you not a failure, but if you're still fighting, if you're still willing to put up the fight, if you don't lay down and play dead for the Yetzer Hara, if you don't let him just trample all over you, and you're still putting up resistance, that's success. That's success. Ki Teitzei, the reason I'm here in this world, as La Milchama, is in order to fight. And what an important message for us all year round, an incredibly important message for us for Chodesh Elul. Because, dear friends, I think many of us come to Elul, and whereas there's a sense of excitement, because new month, new possibilities, a sense of excitement because you can redeem an entire year in 1 month, you could go ahead and set the right framework for the year ahead, but sometimes there is a sense of the sadness in that I'm struggling with the same things this Elul that I was struggling with last Elul. And maybe in a moment of brutal honesty, maybe I was struggling with the same things this Elul that I was struggling with the same things 5 Eluls ago, maybe 10 Eluls ago. And when I have that moment of self-awareness, I begin to feel like a failure. I just begin to feel like a failure. And therefore, says the Rebbe of Radomsk, nothing could be further from the truth. Chas v'shalom that a person should ever feel like a failure. You're only a failure if you stop fighting. But as long as you're putting up the fight, as long as you're putting up the milchama, as long as you're struggling, even if you're losing at times, the fact that you're willing to engage in the struggle, therein lies the greatest sign of personalistic success. See, even if this Elul we're still cleaning up the same problems and the same messes from previous years, the fact that we're still trying, the fact that we're still struggling, the fact that we're still fighting is the greatest success of all. Wishing everyone a good and Erev Shabbos and a beautiful Shabbos Kodesh.